sound of the rain, the sound of the crowd, and that is the sound of a V6 Ferrari engine in the Haas there. That is Recon making his way on towards turn 2. Welcome back if you're just tuning in. Welcome back to TTTV. This is of course TTL F1 round number 6 here at the German Grand Prix here in Hockenheim. A very patchy history for Germany and a very troubled future, but for now it's on the calendar. My name is Kieran McGinley, and joining me in the commentary box for this time, it's Andy Campbell. Andy, we're back, 10 minutes of qualifying to go, and you're still not here. I'm a little bit worried now.
Yes, unfortunately, being a Scotsman, I've been unable to drag my way from the free bar that Mercedes have put out for the home race, so you'll need to bear with me. I'll be running up very shortly through the rain. Should be about 4 minutes. I think they're just pouring me another pint right now. Don't worry to anyone that did catch the first part, my history lesson will remain there, so you can go back and check that out at your own leisure. I won't bore you with it again, but if you do enjoy the history, catch that first little bit of the stream, because there was plenty in there. But yeah, looking pretty wet, but they have mentioned it is a dry race, so we're not going to need to worry about the rain when it comes to the actual race itself. 9.5 minutes to go. It's Spike on top at the moment with Ironics in second. So the two championship protagonists up at the top of the standings. You got DL Warren again in third, who had a great debut last time out in Austria. Nearly took a victory on his debut, but just messed up slightly towards the end of the race, and that cost him. So he's in P3 at the moment. White in fourth, Recon fifth, and Sean rounds out the top six. Jack in seventh, who's here this weekend. He was last season's winner as well. So can he go back to back here tonight? Would be an interesting thing to watch out for.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously we said before, Andy, about that dreaded turn 1, especially in the dries. White goes fastest now, 1:24.0. That puts him at the top. They're going to have to be careful, because that is where most, if not all, of the 3-second time penalties are going to be picked up.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, it's probably certainly in the dry, it's probably one of the quickest turn ones on the calendar. You go in there barreling in, usually around about 6th or 7th gear, anywhere from 150 to 170, depending on how good you can get that car turned in. But too much curb on the inside, corner cut warning. Too much curb on the exit, you get a warning as well. Sometimes if you take too much curb on either side, it causes you to spin. I've seen plenty of people crash out there. I've done it myself as well. So it's not the easiest corner to get right, but there's a lot of time to be made up there if you do get it right. So it's no wonder the drivers will push it to try and keep up and get the time that they need as quickly as possible. But it's a very big risk-reward corner.
Absolutely. Here is Shaw then making his way through 14 and 15 as we head towards 16, and then towards that final corner of turn 17. Here comes Shaw then towards the line. What sort of lap time will he be setting? Of course, no DRS. It is a 1:25.1, and that puts the McLaren up to 6th place. And really, McLaren today need a good result. Both Shaw and Lighty have been struggling in recent times. Ironics there in 4th place is currently top of the standings, with Spike there in 2nd place. About 20 points separates the two of them. And, well, Ironics seems to have the upper hand at the moment, but Spike's seemingly always on his tail, not letting him go too far in front.
No, one thing, you know, we're trying to do the commentator's curse, obviously, that you can usually rely on when it comes to Spike is a lot of consistency. Very consistent driver, can be very, very quick on the day as well, but that consistency is what always keeps him in the battles. He's always there or thereabout, he's always in the points come the end of the race, he's always fighting towards the end for good points, and that's what keeps him ticking along. While others are making mistakes or maybe crash out or anything like that at all, you always can expect Spike to come through at the end of the day more often than not and pick up the points. So they've just seen there, obviously he did have a yellow flag as Mays was going through towards the Mercedes section. What was that? I couldn't quite see it.
There's Jack getting a little bit sideways there through turn 13 as he makes his way now in towards 16, then through the final corner of turn 17. So treacherous, those final two corners, especially with the undulation. Jack getting a little bit too throttle happy there. 1:25.1, that is slower than his previous best lap time of 1:24, and then all the fours. That puts him in 3rd place right now. Warren, last time out, he got a podium on his debut. Right now he's currently in 5th place, 1:24.7 on the dot. We've also got Sean out there in 8th place. Now, Sean, who was pretty consistent in the Haas last season, got that call up to Ferrari. And for Sean, it just seems to be that, especially in the last 2 races, Andy, as he's finally joined the session, it seems the last couple of races that he just seems to be in a race of his own half the time.
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 ways you can look at that kind of situation. One is the negative side, which is not quick enough to keep up with the cars ahead, but you've still got enough pace to stay ahead of the cars behind. You can see that's a negative and a positive, I guess. But the other side and the positive you could look at it is he's not getting in any hassle in the races. He's picking up solid points constantly through these races as well. I think he's been, what, 5th or 6th pretty much the last 3 races, Spain, Canada and Austria. So he's picking up solid points for himself. He's picking up solid points for the team as well. So it's a tricky one. It's not the easiest ones, that's for sure. You'd expect you'd be wanting to do better, of course, but again, just like when we were talking about the spike, consistency sometimes is the absolute key.
And Sean there goes 3/10 faster, puts himself up to 6th place now in the Ferrari, so it's a good result for him so far. There is the Gort then, currently in 11th place. Now, if it is a dry race, Andy, of course that top 10 fastest qualifying tyre rule goes completely out of the window, and we get a completely open strategy as George retires from qualifying in 15th place. The sort of tyre strategies tomorrow, or I should say in the next couple of minutes, should be pretty interesting. I wonder if anyone will start on those soft tyres or whether people will just go straight onto the mediums.
Well, I mean, the general conception would be for race pace and best strategy will probably more likely be medium to hard or hard to medium, but sometimes people can make the soft tyres last really, really long. It just really depends on what you're looking at. It's a really tricky one to do. If you could though, since we've got 3 minutes left, quickly jump on board with Lighty, and I'll do my hot lap since I finally dragged myself away from the bar.
Right, here we go then. Take it away.
I'm not missing that. So here we go with Lighty then. He's coming across the line now to start his flying lap up towards turn number 1, getting down to 5th gear. You can see just how much curb there is in the inside and outside. He's done not bad there, around about 120, much quicker in the dry. And then down towards turn 2, you've seen that green bit of AstroTurf on the side. That's usually the braking reference point. This is turn 3 and then turn 4, and he's sliding everywhere. Been more suited to the rallycross course at the moment. Through turn 5, the parabolica, take the line of least resistance all the way through here, building the speed up to 8th gear. You'll be topping out at 200 miles an hour, just around about 100 metres, hard on the brakes into turn 6. Down to 2nd gear, just gently on the throttle in these conditions to get the power down on the way out. That's going to be your best overtaking move down there. It's with one of the DRS zones. Through the curve of turn 7, had to lift off there, but you can go flat out in the dry and then past the big Mercedes grandstand into turn number 8 on the course. Turn 9 and 10 are pretty much straight together. A quick left and then the right, and then up towards the stadium section. Turn 11, this is a really good corner, and the speed to carry through here is ridiculous in the dry. Coming up to the Sachs curve, which is where a certain Ferrari went off 2 years ago, which we won't mention. Through the quick chicane section of 13 and 14, up towards turn 15 as Lighty gets sideways, doing exactly what Leclerc and Hamilton and co did in the actual race this year. Through the final corner, use a bit of the curbing on the exit. DRS would be available down here. And across the line he goes, but it's not as quick as his original time. But that is a lap of Hockenheim in the absolute pouring rain.
Yeah, pretty good lap there. I mean, I think we're looking at 2 different maps here, Andy, because from turn 8, I've got the left-hander of 8, then I've got the left-hander of 9, then 2 right-handers of 10 and 11. I mean, I know it's only...
See, I'm using... Yeah, I mean, I used the one of... someone said earlier, I'm a walking Wikipedia. That's what I took it from, and it has it classed as... And I would do it the same way. I would actually... I wouldn't even say it's 16 tonnes, because what they class as turn 3 isn't even a tonne. So, it's a tricky
you know
one.
what? I'm not going to argue with FOM, I'm not going to argue with the FIA. If they say that's a corner, that's a corner. As Hustwick is actually going through there now. Currently 5th place now, down to 5th place because of Laronix, who goes 1:23.8 and fastest so far. And especially in these conditions, as we previously mentioned earlier on in the season, Andy, that in a wet qualifying, it's normally just setting those lap times down, lap after lap, with a little bit of a heavy fuel load, as Spike there wrestling the car through turns 2 and 3, then through turn 4. And it's all about then seeing what the track is like out there, setting multiple lap times. Here comes White towards the line.
Oh, Yuzi's in the wall, sorry. Came out of turn 7. Up towards turn 8, lost the back end going through turn 7. He's put it in the wall. The wheels are still on it, but he's retired from the session because it is the final minute. Massive tank slapper, just jumped on board with the Toro Rosso, and he is out of the session. No better than 16th for him. Alan Kay's out there on intermediates, and looks like he's staying out of the way at the moment. He's on his outlap at the moment. But yeah, Uzi out of the session. George is out of the session as well, as is Mays and Graham. Warren's out as well, having moved up to second. But Lyronix into the 123s, where 123.8. Him, Warren and Spike are the only drivers in the 123s as we come up towards the end of the session, and the checkered flag is about to fall. I'm going to keep an eye on the Irishman here on the green intermediates, see how it goes.
Yellow flags in sector 3, that's just drivers creating gaps here as the checkered flag is literally just about to fall on the session. There it goes, checkered flag has waved, and Spike then moves up to second place. 123.8 puts him right behind Lyronix there by just under, or just over I would say, half a tenth of a second. Literally less than the blink of an eye separates Lyronix and Spike. Here comes White then around the final 2 corners, really trying to be careful around these 2 corners. You don't want to carry too much speed through, as that is the Gort then, who's retired from the session altogether. There's White then, and he can't go any quicker. 4th place for him. Hustwick heads back to the pit, so no improvement for him. Jack then in 6th place in the Mercedes. Shaw then making his way now all the way to turn 12. We've got Sean there making his way towards Sachs Curve, as Recon here is making his way towards turn 8. Lighty then retires, no higher than 10th for him. Alan Kay looks like he's had a moment
just spun there. Yeah, just coming out of what would be, as you say, 10 and 11. Just lost the back end. He was up on his best time through sector 1 by a couple of attempts, but car did look a little bit twitchy on those intermediate tyres. He went for a gamble, took a chance, and it's not paid off, unfortunately, for him. The only driver still on a lap then is Recon in the Haas, and he is drifting into the final couple of corners. Held that one very nicely indeed, did the Dutchman. Coming out the final corners across the curb, and he's not going to be in pole position. I don't think he improved on his time with that one there. So that is pole position, and a home race pole position for Lyronix. Spike, though, a bit frustrated. 2 attempts, he said, in the first sector. He's quite annoyed.
Well, here are your qualifying results then. So Lyronix in the Racing Point pole position. Spike just behind. 0.048 separates pole position from second place on the grid. Then it's Warren in 3rd, White in 4th, last time out pole position for him. Hustwick in 5th. Then it's Jack in 6th, Shaw 7th, Sean in 8th, Recon 9th, and Lighty rounds out the top 10. It's the Gort in 11th, Charlie 12th, Crazy Legs in 13th, Mays in 14th, George 15th, Uzi 16th, Alan Kay with the late intermediate charge, P17, and Graham did not set a lap time in that session, and he will start in 18th place. This time around then, Andy, no disqualifications from qualifying. The grid is as it is. But the only difference is that because it's a wet qualifying, it's a completely open strategy for the race.
Indeed, indeed. And it will definitely be interesting to see if anyone does decide to go for the soft tyres. I'd be very interested to see if anybody does, especially... it's a tricky one, because if you're at the front end of the grid, the soft tyres will obviously give you the grip off the line. If you think you're fast enough, you can maybe try and pull away from the pack behind, but they're not going to last for ages. Maybe we're going to do somewhere around about maybe 8, 10 or 12 laps, just depending on how good your driving is. I think we're going to see quite a lot of the medium and the hard compound tyres here. It's going to be the most likely strategy. One stop's probably the quickest way round here. As White is mentioning in the chat, no, he's mentioning something else in the chat, sorry, but it was, as I said earlier, it's one of the shortest runs down to turn 1, and it's a very quick turn 1 as well, so it's going to be interesting to make sure nobody batters into each other, so to speak, as they come into the first turn. Let's have a look at those tyres, and yep, as expected, it is a complete and utter wash of the white hard compound tyres and the yellow medium compound. So the pole sitter and Warren, along with Jack, the Gort and Crazy Legs, are on the hard compound tyre. So that's going to be interesting off the start. The pole sitter on the hardest compound possible. Spike and everybody else are on the medium tyres. So the majority going for the yellow tyres. A few of them deciding to go for the hard compound white tyres, and especially the one that we'll keep an eye on will be the pole sitter. How quick can he get away? Keep an eye on Jack in 6th though. Won it here last year. and he's already won in Canada this year by starting up in the top 10 on a set of hard compound tyres and making the long strategy work. So we need to keep an eye on him as the race goes on as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Recon here starting on a set of medium tyres. We saw him try and make a charge through Austria last time out, and with varying effect. He did try and go for the two-stop strategy. Didn't quite work out last time, and looks like today he's opting for the one-stop conservative strategy. Watch out as well for some of the guys outside of the top 10. We know Crazy Legs here is looking for a good result. He's looking to start on those hard tyres. Always odd to see Mays this far down the order. 14th place, he really struggled in qualifying. He's hoping those medium tyres will be able to help him get back up to the point scoring positions. But there is Hustwick as well, making his return. Making his way now around the final corners in the Williams. 5th place for him. Not a bad way to mark your return as a 4-time champion. Not at all. But we now await the drivers coming back to the grid now in the array and foray of colours making their way to the grid. 18 drivers start the German Grand Prix here. It's a fantastic sight to see as they're just waiting now for the last of the back markers there to line up on their grid positions. The Toro Rossos and the Alfa Romeo at the back there. But we are moments away here from the German Grand Prix here in TTL F1, and we're just waiting now for those red lights to start counting up. Here we are then for the German Grand Prix. It's 5 red lights. And round 6 is underway, and what are the starts like? Well, Jack's got a terrible start. It's a drive-through penalty for a jump start. Here's Lyronix then, having to go round the outside the long way around to defend from Spike, and he's got the move done. But Warren's up to 3rd place. It's Crazy behind them. Let's have a look what's happened. That's Traw off the track then at turn 1. They've got the yellow flags there. Meanwhile, White and Warren are battling away at the front there for 3rd place. And now here is Jack, who's got that drive-through penalty. He has to serve it within 3 laps. Also a battle at the front then. Lyronix and Spike battling down towards the hairpin for the very first time towards turn 6. Spike has the inside line. Lyronix the outside line on these hard tyres. And Spike then takes the lead of the German Grand Prix and tries to break the slipstream.
At turn 6. Turn 6.
Absolutely, as that is Graham there at the back who's lost an end plate, and also Yuzi in 13th who's lost an end plate. Both Toro Rossos have fared badly into that hairpin, and lots of those cars piling into that corner was never really going to be successful, and it looks like both the Toro Rossos there have suffered damage. The thing is though, when does Jack come in to serve his drive-through penalty? Just a little bit too eager on that clutch pedal, as Yuzi then moves up to 12th place and actually gets past Hustwick then. As we make our way through the chicane, we've got yellow flags in sector 3, and we've got Alan Kay and Charlie.
The teammates.
Did they come together? Yes, they did. Alan Kay, severe collision with Graham. That's what the in-game stewards have decided. Meanwhile, look at Mays then, up to 7th place from the start. What a great start for him. Just kept his head down and was able to get away from all that carnage at the end of lap 1.
But he's missing the wing plate. He's missing the front end wing plate though on the left-hand side, so it's a good start, but he's going to be understeering massively on that Ferrari as well. But there's plenty going on. I'll let you run through the order quickly and then I'll tell you about the mayhem that I got.
Absolutely, we've got Spike at the lead then, Lyronix in 2nd, White in 3rd, so we're riding on board with him. He's actually also got an end plate missing on the right hand side, so his Red Bull hasn't fared well either, but he's managing to keep Warren behind in 4th place. Then it's Sean in 5th, Lighty in 6th, Mays there running in 7th place, Crazy Legs in 8th, Yuzi in 9th with that damaged front wing. Hustwick back into the point after a shaky start. That is Straw in 11th, George in 12th, Jack there in 13th place with Graham in 14th, Charlie 15th, Alan Kay in 16th, the Gort in 17th, and Recon running in 18th place. And meanwhile, Warren and White are still battling away. This is for the last podium position right now, and always a little bit of contact, and there is Warren and White make contact at the final corner. That was a bit of clumsy there from Warren as he just runs into the back there. I'm not sure whether White planned to come into the pits, but he's definitely coming in now to replace that front wing and change onto some medium tyres. And that's going to be an age in the pit lane then. Meanwhile, Sean and Warren there battling away in towards turns 2 and 3, then through turn 4. Remember, Warren on the hard tyres. It is Sean on the mediums, and Sean here is going to have a little bit of DRS to help him as well. Watch out for Lighty as well the German in the McLaren, looking for a good result at his home race. It's 3 wide here, down into the hairpin with Warren on the inside. It's Lighty on the outside and Sean directly in the middle. He's going to have better traction on the exit with those medium tyres as we now head away towards the right-hander of turn 7. The Ferrari is going to be round the outside and Sean has the inside line for turn 8 then. Warren's going to have to do his best here to try and keep the car there, which he does. And now on the inside, can he stick his nose in? No, he can't really. And Sean takes 3rd place away. And now Lighty is licking his lips then because he's going up the inside. Very narrow corner here, but he's got the move done. Lighty up to 4th place now, just in towards turn 12. A very risky move, but it's a move that paid off as we see Yuzi then trying to go up the inside of Hustwick at the Sachs curve. And they come together now. A little bit of contact between the two of them. I think Yuzi tried to squeeze out Hustwick there. I didn't realise he was still there, but I've been meaning to hand back this microphone to you for quite some time, Andy, but so much is going on.
Yeah, there's too much going on. Uzi's member is still pushing around with that wing damage. He's not came into the pits yet. That last yellow flag was Graham and Charlie were side by side. Wait a minute, something going on there. T-Raw having a look at Uzi round the outside into turn 2. You can see Recon and Maze up ahead as well, having a little bit of a battle. The Toro Rosso holds on, but turn 1, there's carnage going on. Jack got the jump start. It then looked like he pushed T-Raw into turn number 1 as Warren goes past Lighty under DRS there, so that was a pretty easy move there. Kind of keep an eye on everything going on and tell you what happened in those first couple of laps as Housewick goes up the inside of Yuzi, who's going to battle back on the outside now out of turn number 6. Recon with a penalty now for picking up, but yeah, it looked like Jack ran into the back of T-Raw. That pushed the McLaren wide as Yuzi's off the track there at turn 7 and up to turn 8 with that wing damage. That won't put T-Raw down the order. He's got himself back up to 8th place already, which is pretty good. And then it was mayhem up to turn 6. There was like 6 wide at one point. There was so many cars, you know, side by side. How they didn't all come together and cause a huge massive crash, I do not know. Plenty of cars with wing damage. Quite that incident with Warren, it looked like Warren kind of got into the back here and just slid the Red Bull. He might be happy at that. It might work in his favour because he did have wing damage. We'll need to wait and see how that one goes on, but I get the feeling that one might end up with the stewards later on before very much longer. Warren is now catching back up to Sean. Spike and Lyronics will be happy all of this though. Spike is 2.5 seconds clear up front and Lyronics has got 5 seconds over the rest of the field, so those two are happily on their merry way up front and not bothered about what's going on. Meanwhile, Crazy Legs, Maze ahead, still got that bit of wing damage on that Ferrari. Crazy's got T-Raw behind. Warren's just gone up the round the outside, of Sean into turn 6. Can't get the move finalised just yet. Well, as Crazy Legs has just gone up the inside of Maze. Maze is going to cut back. There's a little bit of wheel banging. It looks like carbon fibre went a fly in there. T-Raw's gone, thank you very much. I'll have a wee position out of that one as well. And it is the Haas now that's missing a front wing end plate. So there's carbon fibre strewn halfway around Germany. Yuzi up the inside and the Haas has to take to the grass. There's Jack now in the background. T-Raw's got it all wrong. Oh, and he's had a collision with George. That was just, that gap was going to close all the time. George getting a wee bit too eager there, I would say, in my opinion. But he's managing to get underway and it's all going on, absolutely all going on. Meanwhile, Jack up the inside of Yuzi, who's still understeering like a shopping trolley, and Jack after his jump start back up to 9th place already. White is ahead of George now and Jack fighting already with Crazy Legs, who now goes for pit lane and he's going to get rid of that damage on his Haas. So I'm absolutely knackered already, and it's only lap 6. We've got another, 20 odd to laps to go. This is just going to be absolute mayhem.
We've got 23 laps to go. Buckle in, because if the start's anything like that, then we've got a good race on our hands as Jack oversteers actually. Bit of understeer, then oversteer through turns 3 and 4 then. This is a perfect opportunity for Yuzi to try and get past his car. Well, battling up ahead as well as Hustwick goes up the inside of a wounded Ferrari of Maze. Meanwhile, behind them as well, we've got Traw, and this is Jack battling away. A little bit of a tap there from Yuzi behind. I don't think he quite meant to do that, but it has cost Jack a little bit of traction on the exit, and that means that Jack there didn't quite get the run and the move on Traw that he wanted to get done. But Jack having to serve that drive through, and well, this is the pit lane to get a drive through. It's a relatively short pit lane. You lose the least amount of time doing it. Here's Recon then, as he's looking to try and make a move then.
No way.
Positions.
Crazy Legs has just gone through the middle of the two Alphas into the hairpin and took the two of them in one move. No way has he just done that. That's incredible. Recon just flew by the two of them as well. ERS, DRS all the way up towards turn 6. But crazy legs through the middle of the Alphas into the hairpin. Lyronics is round at turn 1. Oh no, the championship leaders now the latest victim of this track. And despite the fact it's a dry race, they're having more trouble here in the race than they did actually in the wet qualifying session. Maybe the track's still a little bit green, not enough rubber down possibly.
Possibly. Well, I'm seeing in the chat there, Lyronics was just focused on not making any mistakes whatsoever. He'll be absolutely gutted with that. Meanwhile, Troll then, with the DRS, through the Parabolica, makes the move, and look at that then, that is Jack going around the outside, and instantly Troll sees the danger there and defends the inside line in towards the hairpin. And look at Maze here, he's going to try a cutback here, but he hasn't quite got the traction down to try and make the move stick. But Troll then knows the danger that Jack has on him. He's already had that drive through. Jack is really fired up, you can see that as well. Willing to make the move on Troll as well down into the hairpin, but Troll was having none of it, slammed the door shut. And Jack then just couldn't make that move work as we head now in towards turn 12. Lots of moves happening, and the two Alphas at the back there as well as the two Haas's. Both teams there will be hugely frustrated with the starts they had there with, I believe it was both Alphas getting front wing damage as well. So it's hugely upsetting for them. They'll just be wanting to focus to get themselves to the end of the race, because you never know, there could be points on offer. Lap 8 of this Grand Prix then, and Spike leads by 8.6 seconds ahead of Warren there. That is Jack running wide at turn 1. No doubt he'll receive a warning for that one, as there's yellow flags in sector 1, and that looks like Lighty around at turn 3. And the German there, it looks like it's been a disaster for the German driver so far, as Hustwick then moves up a position. The McLaren here of Troll might be overtaking the Williams here of Hustwick as we head now down towards the hairpin. He's got the inside line, and if Hustwick can't get past one McLaren, he's definitely having to battle the other, as they're making their way now down towards turn 7. And Troll will have the inside line, and he's got the move done there. But Lighty will be hugely frustrated. In fact, he's got front wing damage as well, as he looks to try and go up the inside of the Williams there. Hustwick shuts the door as we now make our way through. And that is Lighty there with a huge mountain of understeer as we headed through turn 11 there. And he's going to find a lot of trouble with that McLaren right now. Jack, meanwhile, moves up another position. Up to 7th place he goes. Meanwhile, White there has not had a great time whatsoever. He's currently in 12th place on those hard tyres. Remember, he did have to stop to repair that front wing damage, so we'll have to see how he goes there. But at the end of lap 8, at the beginning of lap 9, it is Spike who leads from Warren, Sean, Lyronics, Troll, Hustwick, Jack, Lighty, Yuzi, Maze, Graham, White, The Gort, Recon, George, Crazy Legs, Alan Kay and Charlie. All 18 drivers that started this race are still running in it.
How the heck they're still running in it, I do not know. Unbelievable stuff going on. Graham and White having a bit of a battle coming out of turn number 1 towards turn number 2. The Red Bull up the inside, and can he finally make that move stick on the Toro Rosso? Meanwhile, we've seen what happened. Lighty picked up wing damage, as you mentioned. Maze and Yuzi are having a fight. That's basically 8th, 9th and 10th. It's the end plate wingless wonders at the moment. All three of them have got end plate damage to the McLaren, the Ferrari and the Toro Rosso respectively. The fact that they're still able to keep going, and especially into that stadium section, it must be handling absolutely horribly. Meanwhile, T-Raw, after everything that happened in lap 1, he was last at turn 2. He's all the way back up to 5th place already. It's incredible how this race has ebbed and flowed already. Got Housewick there in 6th. Jack trying to recover from a jump start in 7th. Spike still out in front with Warren in 2nd, only 9 seconds now. Sean in 3rd. Lyronics for that mistake in 4th. As you say, he was in the chat saying he's probably going to do a Vettel and bottle it. Well, he done a partial bottle. It's not quite fully crashed yet, and he'll be hoping it doesn't by the end of the race. But there's so much going on, and just to quickly go through it, your biggest gainers in that opening 10 laps, Yuzi, despite wing damage, is up 6th place. Graham is up 6th place, as Jack's going to throw it up the inside into turn 2 on Housewick. It's side by side between the Mercedes and the McLaren. A little bit of a bump there. It's got the McLaren, the Williams sideways, and the Mercedes gets through, so that's Jack up to 6th. But Yuzi and Graham up 6th places. Maze and Sean up 5, biggest losers. White down 7, having had that wing damage, and then kind of unceremoniously getting punted into pit lane by Warren. Recon down 5 places, having to pit early with wing damage, and Charlie and Alan Charlie lost in 6th places after coming together with his teammates, so I'm sure the Alpha team boss will not be happy at that. That's the kind of thing that happens for Haas, and they've managed to stay away from that at the moment. But for an opening 10 laps, the last time I remember seeing 10 laps that was this frantic, we were doing the mini league here about 3-4 months ago, and that was nuts.
That was nuts. You're not wrong at all, but there's one driver here who's stayed away from all the drama and all the trouble whatsoever, and that is our current race leader, Spike. He's leading by 8.6 seconds and looking pretty comfortable. We know Spike, we know he races to a delta and doesn't really exceed that delta, and right now it's got him an 8.7 second lead. Meanwhile then, Lighty, the German in the McLaren, is into the pit lane along with Yuzi behind him. Now this looks like it's going to be a repair job, and it will be. An early stop then to change the front wing and onto some hard tyres. Lighty goes, and his teammate Traw is now under pressure from Jack behind. Jack, who has the DRS down towards the hairpin at turn 6, and looking to try and regain some position. Oh, he's run straight into the back of Traw! Straight into the back of him, and I wonder if there's front wing damage to that Mercedes. There has to be front wing damage, and there is to the right hand side. There's an end plate missing, and Jack here, his aggressive charge up the field may have just been slightly halted by that. He just missed his braking point there and just ran straight into the back of Troll. Luckily for Troll, there doesn't look to be any damage to the rear of that car, but it's a whole different story to the front of Jack's here. He'll be hugely frustrated with that one.
Definitely so, as Graham's just chucked it up the inside on the Gore. No way he was going to get through there into the Mercedes section. He's still got wing damage as well, and he loses out instead, and the Crazy Legs is retired from the race. What has happened to the Haas? That was a yellow flag in sector 1. Let's see if we can find where it was. It's up towards turn number 2. I can see a yellow flag on board with Ironics. Where is the Haas? Let's have a wee he's off to the side there, and it looks like it's just parked on the road. So unsure what's happened with Crazy Legs there. It's a bit of random retirement there, parking in that position, but he is the first retirement. That could pull a safety car, you never know, but with this game it probably won't, because you hardly ever see them anyway. And yellow flag now in sector 2 also, so there's yellow flags everywhere at the moment. Plenty going on, but for Jack getting that damage there, running into the back of T-Raw, that's going to mess up his strategy, because obviously he's on the hard compound tyres. He was looking to run long into this race, at least up to lap 20 or so. That car's now going to understeer very badly. It's going to start wearing the front tyres out extremely quickly as well, as Recon's just sliced around the outside of the Gore under DRS into the hairpin. That's him now into the final points paying position. But Jack, it's almost like Mercedes at the German Grand Prix this year. Whatever can go wrong, for at least in terms of one driver, is going wrong. Jump start, making his way back through the field. Now got wing damage, which is going to affect his race from here on out until he at least gets into pit lane. And yeah, I mean, he's still running around pretty well at the moment in 6th. He's going to have to try and extend that stint as long as he possibly can. That Williams, though, at Hubswick is still just about there as well. White trying to still make his way through the field. Mays is still going round at the moment in 8th with that wing plate damage that he got on lap 1, I think it was, that he picked that one up. So he's still doing pretty well at the moment on those medium tyres. He'll be in before long, trying to extend the stint out as much as possible. But plenty going on at the moment. We've seen a few pit stops now. The highest runner is White, that's been into pit lane. Got yellow flag somewhere in sector 2. Not quite sure what that was. It was for Charlie. So I've just jumped on board with Sean. He's back underway, so he's obviously made a mistake through towards turns 7 and 8. And Mays has just lost out in that position to White, and then fought back again as Mays is still trying. DRS into turn number 6 for White, and he's got the move done. And with that front wing end plate damage to the Ferrari and older tyres now, you'd imagine that Ferrari will be in pit lane before very much longer. But Spike, he's going to be happy. He's 8.7 clear. He's not really extended the gap in any way, but he's not made any, he's not lost much time either at the moment. And he's going to be pretty happy with that, because he's going to be in pit lane before long. Do not ask me what the penalties are at this point, because there's no way I've been able to keep up with this at any point.
Even when he's second in command, even when he's just got a notepad over to the side, even Andy can't keep up. But here is Mays then making his way in towards to the pit lane to change what is going to be that front wing. And while technically this will count as a scheduled stop, this will definitely count as a scheduled stop. I'm assuming Mays wanted to pit on lap 13 or lap 14 and on go a new set of hard tyres, and we'll take those tyres to the end of the race. Jack there still in 6th place, looking to try and nurse his Mercedes to the next pit window, and of course for Jack it's going to be even longer, maybe about 3 laps more on those hard tyres, and then he'll be able to take them off and try something else on the medium tyres. But it looks like to me that Spike's tyres are just about past their sell-by date, because the gap's now come back down to 7.9. Now we know Spike drives to a delta, we know that over the previous seasons, so maybe that delta now is just getting a little bit reduced there. You saw that fuel light just flash up, and it's just flashing up there as Warren sets the fastest lap of the race, a 1:15.4. He means business now as he makes his way up towards turn 2. But yeah, he's closing that gap on Spike, and maybe that's a message to Spike to say maybe it's time to change over onto those hard tyres now.
It's quite possible. It will definitely be in the window now of making a pit stop. I'm trying to go through the penalties at the moment as well, but there's quite a few as you go down the field. In terms of the front end, Spike's not picked up any. Warren's got 3 seconds, but I get a feeling White might be putting that situation towards the end of lap 3 or 4, I think it was, into the stewards. I think that's my personal opinion from what I've seen. Sean's has picked up a penalty as well. Ironics, despite losing out and spinning, he's not picked up any penalties yet, and I'm working my way through the rest of the field as quickly as I can.
Andy always putting in the extra effort there to just see what the penalties are like, and what has been an unusually quiet period in this race right now. It's been a lot of shouting, there's been a lot of action, and now everything just seems to have calmed down a bit as drivers start to think about when their second stint is going to be. By the way, that gap that was down to 7.9 seconds is now back up to 8.4. Let's see as Warren crosses the line here as he makes his way to start another lap. Let's just have a look. It's now 8.3, so Spike gained 0.4 of a second on that lap. Meanwhile, off screen, Lighty gets away past Graham then, so Lighty up to 11th place now as we head now with him through turn 8. That is your closest battle on track right now, the battle for 11th. 0.7 of a second separate them. But on lap 16 then, we're over the halfway mark, and it is Spike who leads on those medium tyres. Second is Warren. Third is Sean. Fourth there, Lyronics. Troy in 5th. Jack in 6th. Hustwick is in the pits, is in 7th place. Now quickly passed by White. Recon there 9th. Degort in 10th. 11th is Lighty. Graham in 12th. George in 13th. UC 14th. Mace 15th. Alan K 16th. And Charlie in 17th. Our only non-finisher so far is Crazy Legs.
Graham there coming into pit lane where he's got that wing damage, and he just about stacked it into the wall, ran onto the gravel. He's picked up a 5-second time penalty as well for speeding in pit lane, which will not be served at this pit stop because he's just came into the pits, so that'll be added to his time. But he nearly binned it in pit lane a la David Coulthard at Australia in 1995, but managed to keep the wheels turning and away from falling off the car. As Spike's now into pit lane as well, so your race leader finally into pit lane, so Warren will take the lead in the Renault. He's got at least another, I would say at least another 4 laps in him, I would say, maybe more than that, just depends how far he wants to push it. Sean's into pit lane as well, and Spike underway with a set of hard compound tyres. Where is Lyronics? He's just coming down the front straight. Yellow flag somewhere in sector 2 as well, which has disappeared pretty quickly and is back out, so someone's having a bit of an issue. Oh, it's George, I think. He's just been off track twice, trying to chase down his teammate as usually picks up another penalty there. And Lyronics has came out ahead of Lyronics, so he's a pit stop ahead. That's worked out very nicely for Spike, especially considering the championship battle that these two are having. This could turn into a very nice German Grand Prix for the Mercedes driver.
Wouldn't it just, as Lyronics there now needs to focus on staying ahead of Jack, and with Jack there got front wing damage as well. The gap is 7.4, so Jack's going to be in the pit lane for about 5 to 7 seconds longer than Lyronics is, purely because of that front wing change. It's going to be interesting to see where Jack rejoins. Yellow flags in sector 1, and that's Yuzi!
Big massive crash. I was just following Mace, who was behind him. He's binned it through turn 1. Not quite sure if it was the inside or the outside curb, but he's hit the right hand side wall just by pit exit. Wheels been ripped off that car. He's now sitting in the middle of the road, so that could be an interesting one as well. But yeah, second retirement from the race is Yuzi, and he just picked up, I think, his 3rd time penalty, so he was going to end up back way towards Narnia anyway, with the amount of penalties he had got before long. Lyronics into pit lane to get rid of the hard tyres. 17 laps on those hard tyres. I thought we would maybe see him going a little bit longer than that, but maybe he's just had enough for him. Set of mediums going on. Be interesting to see if he can take these towards the end of the race. The lighter fuel load should help him, but that's 16-17 laps he's got to do. it's going to be a bit touch and go by the end, I think, but it's a brave move from the championship leader. He has came out though behind White, but White has done 15 laps now after that early pit stop earlier on.
Well, what you've got to remember as well is Lyronics did have a spin on those hard tyres, so they probably weren't in the greatest condition. Here is Lyronics now in the slipstream of White. White goes defensive to try and take the inside line down towards the hairpin. White's going to put up a fight here as Lyronics has to go round the outside, and that is White shutting the door on the Racing Point car. He's making it very, very clear that he does not want him to pass whatsoever, as White's still on those hard tyres. Of course, he came in early because of that front wing damage. Let's see if he can make those hard tyres last any more. He'll have to come in again, surely, to change on to another set of mediums. That is Warren coming into the pits then in the Renault, leading the way at the moment, but then Spike will retake that lead while setting the fastest lap of the race, a 1:15.1 from Spike, and he rejoins back to the top of the standings right now. Jack into the pits as well from third place, and that is White coming into the pits now on the hard tyres there. He's coming in to put on a new set of medium tyres, surely. That will be, and that will get him to the end of the race. So Lyronics there, a bit of a frustrating outlap for him, but now he's got clear air. 3.7 seconds now to the next car, which is Sean, who's running on the hard tyres right now. What's going to be interesting to see is how Spike and Warren, how that battle develops. It's 9.6 at the moment, but Spike's on 2-lap-old hard tyres. Warren's just rejoined on a set of medium tyres. What's going to happen here, Andy?
Well, it's definitely going to be an interesting one to keep an eye on. You'd expect Warren should be able to close that gap, but he doesn't want to take too much life out of those tyres too early. He's going to have no grip left in them come the end of the race, which could leave him susceptible to anybody coming up behind towards the end. Yellow flag sector 3, and that is George out of the race. Going to see what I can find out what happened to the Williams driver just before long. I'm on board with Warren just now. Where is the yellow flags? Can't quite see where they are. Sector 3 somewhere. I think he maybe he's off the wall. There he is at the last corner, exactly where Nico Hulkenberg parked the Renault up this year, and where Carlos Sainz nearly parked his one up as well. But yeah, Warren, he's going to want to get a move on, obviously, but you don't want to take too much life out of the tyres. And in this situation, I think you would probably say that Spike's in a bit more of a advantageous position. Those hard tyres should easily go to the end of the race. We've already seen 17, 18 laps on these tyres. We've only seen, I think, maximum about 14 laps on the mediums. Although it's lower fuel loads, still an awful long way to take them. Recon's into pit lane from what was P5, I believe. He's going to come back out in P9 behind White, but he's still in the top 10, so that's not too bad for the Dutchman in the Haas. It's had a wee bit of a fun start to the race. He started 9th and he's back where he started now after being up the field, down the field and all around the courses. But you mentioned that battle with White. So speaking of White, actually, he's about to go past Light like taking candy from a baby. He really did shut the door on Warren. If he had shut the door any harder, he would have stuck his hands in the door. That's how much he really pushed him off the track. But he was trying what he can, and he's been back into pit lane as well for a fresh set of tyres. So what can he do now with a fresh set on that Red Bull? He's got Jack up ahead, who's now got a fresh wing and has pitted same lap. So those guys are racing on equal terms in terms of on track at least.
Warren, fastest lap of the race, 1:14.002. We are that close to a 1:13. It's going to happen eventually. But Warren here making his intentions clear to Spike. He wants that position, he wants that win. We saw him last time out in commentator's corner. He was angry with himself. I mean, in the chat before the race actually started, he was really saying, you know, top 7 would be fantastic. By the end of the race, he was saying to himself, well, I'm frustrated, I should have won that one. By the way, Jackson now the fastest lap of the race, now the first person into the 1:13s, as Recon gets away past Lighty up to 8th place. I think Warren will be a little bit less frustrated if he doesn't win this one, Andy, but still, to be running this high up, and only his second race as well. He's already got one podium to his name, and he should be feeling pretty good in terms of his form. But this is what happens when you come up against Spike. You know, he is a seasoned pro. He does have a Drivers' Championship to his name, and it's pretty surprising to find out it's only the one to his name so far.
Yeah, definitely. So again, the driver with that consistency, you think would be up there with a few more at least. But I mean, Warren, yeah, he was looking at top 7 and then annoyed with himself. But if he was to finish in the podium here, first two races in TTL, and he'll finish in the podium in both if he can. So, you know, I said it last week, if he can continue that form through other tracks, he could be someone to watch out for in terms of a championship push for next year. Speaking of championship, mind you, here comes the championship leader Lyronics all over the back of the Ferrari of Sean like an absolute bad rash at the moment. And before we even get DRS fully opened, he's going to slipstream his way past really easily there. Tyre life very similar, but the medium tyres providing a little bit more grip than the hards, and that's P3 now for Lyronics. He's got 11 seconds to Warren. He is 17.7 off the lead of this race. It's a long way to go. We'll need to keep an eye on that one, see how he goes. Jack is catching up to the back of T-Raw now, coming out of the hairpin. That's P5 and P6. These two have already had contact, which cost the Mercedes part of its front wing end fence, which has now been replaced in the pit stop phase. The Gort has just gone up the inside of Housewick, who's trying to stick around the outside in that Williams, and he's going to hold on to that position actually, is the Williams driver. So pretty good at the moment. They're going to go side by side through turn 7 very fast. Gort taking to a little bit of the grass, doing a little bit of gardening, and as he does it, but he's got himself through and into the place. And Jack and T-Raw, did Jack just go around the outside through the Sachs curve? Surely not.
Well, he's up to 5th now. He means business as he makes his way now on towards that start-finish line. 5th place for him right now as he makes his way on towards turn 1 and running a little bit wide and picking up another penalty. That's going to catch him out towards the end of this race. That's not his first penalty, and I'm assuming with 12 laps to go that it might not be his last as he makes his way now through on towards the Parabolica curve now. Lap 23 of this race. We have 12 laps to go. It is Spike leading by 5.9 seconds ahead of Warren here. Lyronics, who's now up to 3rd place. Sean in 4th. That is Jack in 5th with Straw in 6th. White is in 7th with Recon chasing him down in 8th place. Lighty in 9th. McGort rounding out the points right now. Hustwick in 11th. Mays is in 12th. Graham in 13th. Charlie in 14th. And Alan Kay running on those soft tyres now. He's running in 15th place. In this race, we have lost George, Uzi and Crazy Legs, all crashing out of this race. But yeah, with now 11 laps to go, Spike is leading by 5.7 seconds. So it's a little bit cagey now for Warren.
Not really, because Warren's just picked up his second 3-second time penalty just right there as you were saying that sentence. So although it's 6 seconds, just under 6 seconds on the road, in terms of total time at the moment, unless Spike starts picking up some penalties, it's actually 12 seconds. So Warren's not helping himself. He's pushing really hard, obviously, picking up warnings probably into turn 1 especially, but that's not going to help him at the end of the race unless he can catch up and get past quickly. But at the moment, penalties would come back to haunt him before long. T-Ross trying to keep up with Jack. Meanwhile, Recon is coming up to the back and alongside the Red Bull of White there. DRS for the Haas up and around the outside of the turn 5 Parabolica curve. Easy on there into the brakes in turn 6. He is through and up into P7. You can see T-Raw though is right behind Jack. It looks like a little bit close there. It looks like Jack's cars are a little bit jumpy, shall we say. Got a bit of kangaroo juice in it at the moment, but it looks it, and we'll blame that on the internet. But he's held the position for now, but that's now becoming a pretty good 4-way scrap. We've got Mercedes, McLaren, Haas and Red Bull fighting over 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th. So this is getting a little bit tasty. Warren's still closing the gap. We'll keep an eye on it as time goes on and as this race goes on. But I think at the moment, concentrating on this battle for 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th is a very good wee place to be.
Absolutely. Here is Recon then, who's got quite a good run through the final 2 corners, but there is Straw then. Looks like he's got his car set up for the straights at the moment. Recon taking turn 1 very sweetly, then up towards turn 2 we go, and again a little short burst of DRS down towards turn 2 and then through turns 3 and 4. You can see Recon there taking a wider entry in towards 3 and 4, and look at this now, look how close he is to the back of that McLaren. Recon here trying to go up to the right hand side, but look at that, Straw's just levelled it out and he might actually open up the gap a little bit. Here is Recon then diving down the inside in towards the hairpin. Can he get the car stopped in time? Yes he can, and Recon there pulled off the daring move, almost ran into the back of Jack, but measured that to perfection. He's now up to 6th place, and will he try around the outside at turn 8 here? No, he won't, because Jack really made it clear that he wasn't going to let him through. But up to 6th place Recon goes, and that took a huge amount of bravery there.
That was the last of the late breakers, and he somehow got it slowed down as well. You can see the Alpha staying out of the way. That's Alan Kay, who's getting lapped, staying well out of the way at the sixth curve and just completely ruining his tyres in the process. Recon looks very quick at the moment. T-Ron nearly went into the back of the Haas, coming into the Mercedes stand section at turn number 8. But these four are going to stick together. 3 DRS zones, one down the front straight to turn 1, one here down towards turn 2, and then the last one obviously up towards turn 6. It's going to keep them pretty close together in a bit of a train at the moment, and before long we might just see, well then again Lighty's a wee bit further back. I've seen a car in the background, I thought it was Lighty but it's not. Here comes Recon in on the back of Jack, but keep an eye in the background because White is onto the back of T-Row as well, and the Haas has got through on the Mercedes. He's going to try and attack back up the inside. That's a late breaking move from the defending champion, and Jack's going to hold the position for now. White is battling as well in the background, side by side between Recon and Jack through turn 7 up towards turn number 8. T-Row's held the position from White at the moment, and Jack has somehow, despite not having DRS there, held on, late braking into turn number 6 there, held the position, got the traction on the exit, and has somehow, the defending champion, has kept that place when it looked like all hope was lost for a moment, and the positions stay exactly as they are.
Yeah, 2 separate battles for 2 separate positions, a battle for 5th place and a battle for 7th place right now, and both drivers defending those positions. Happen to be some great drivers who are great at defending. Jack and Troy, we both know in the history, are great defenders. They know exactly where to place the car, but then they're being chased down by 2 very attacking drivers of Recon and White who know how to attack. So this is a really evenly matched field right now, these 2 battles, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the 2 great defensive drivers can do against 2 very attacking drivers.
Yeah, definitely so. Here we go for round number 2. Recon's onto the back of Jack up ahead. I'm on board with White, watching both battles from a distance, and White's got the move done. Jack, meanwhile, is still side by side with Recon as they're coming through, but Jack's held that position one more time, so we finally get a move change there, and it is White getting through on T-Rod. Jack holds the position one more time though from Recon. The Dutchman will be getting a little bit frustrated. He needs to keep calm at the moment. He seems to be quicker, he just can't find a way to get past that Mercedes. It's acting like a London bus at the moment. It's the widest Mercedes you've ever seen.
Absolutely, but still in 5th place at the moment, lap 28 of 34. And that means we have 7 laps to go at this moment in time. With this Spike still leading, 3.3 is the gap. As Andy has already said, that Warren has those 6 seconds worth of penalties, so actually the gap is 9 seconds in reality. So Lyronix here will be hoping to just keep it on the grey stuff. He has got a time penalty himself, but if he can shorten the gap any more, he might have a chance here of sneaking 2nd place. But we're still focused on this battle here for 5th place between Recon and Jack. Once again, round 3, here we go. Recon now moving to the right hand side. Jack trying to defend the line as much as he possibly can, but this time Recon with the DRS streams past. But look at this, Jack leaving the braking lane, contact between the 2 of them in towards turn 6 there, as they now go side by side, now trying to go into the slipstream of each other as White now joins the fray, and this battle for 5th place now as Recon trying to now go up the inside at turn 8 there, and he just can't quite do it. No chance with the gap opening up there, but now that attacking battle means Recon's slightly vulnerable there to White, although he has recovered to just stay that little bit ahead. Lap 29 has been started, 6 laps to go in this one, and this battle for 5th place is really heating up.
Yeah, definitely. So Jack late braking big time there. Recon will have been screaming into the radio at Jeff, saying he pushed him off the track. He then went up the inside into turn number 8. The gap was there, and he just seemed to back out of it. It just looked a bit half-hearted in the end. If he just stuck the nose in there, he might have just forced Jack to, give the place up, as White's picked up a penalty there. You were saying that Lyronix has a penalty. He doesn't yet. He's only got 2 warnings at the moment. So at the moment for Lyronix, the gap he's got is 11 seconds. If he can find a few seconds, or if Warren picks up at least 1 more penalty, that could get very close indeed. Here we go. This is what, round number 4? 5. Recon's on the grass. They're bumping each other coming up towards turn number 6. Jack goes wide. He's in the marbles. Recon's going to get a much better run this time, and White's going to go, thank you very much. I'll have P6 off of you as well if you don't mind. I'm quite happy to do that. But yeah, those two on the grass, Recon there, getting the inside line, and I think that was maybe a little bit of retribution from the Dutchman there. I think he may have felt a little bit unjust at how Jack late braked the previous lap and kind of forced him off the track, and he was like, no, I'm coming through this time, son. That is my place. And speaking of ironics and penalties, there you go, I've jinxed him. He's just picked up his first.
Well, that will throw a little bit of caution to the wind now. He'll know he's got 2 warnings left before another penalty, that's for sure. So it might open him up to just say, you know what, let's buy some time back. But yeah, coming down towards turn 6 there. I thought that was a little too aggressive from Jack there. You know, you had Recon who's side by side. You can't just slam the door on someone who's there. But Recon had other ideas, taking to the grass and going up the inside. So fair play to him for sticking it out. He's now up to 5th place and 8 seconds now between himself and Sean. I doubt in 5 laps time he's going to be able to close that gap, and the battle between these 4 has widened significantly. Although Jack can't stop the car as he bangs into the side of White there, and he actually lets him go after that one. Just completely missed his braking point, and not for the first time down towards turn 6 there.
Yeah, he's really leaving the brakes late into turn 6. He's managed it a couple of times to get it slowed down and still keep side by side and get traction out the corner. But that's a couple of laps running now. 2 out of 3 laps for sure. He's really wringing the neck on that Mercedes. He's really pushing it there coming towards the stadium. But a couple of laps now that he's been really late the brakes. And he's got wing damage. He's straight on and he's off at the Sachs curve. He's ran into the back of White there. Again late in the brakes. And he's retired from the session. Oh, that's just, yeah. I think he's just got too frustrated there and got a bit fed up as a defending champion, and he becomes the 4th retirement from this race. And, well, car heads for pit lane under AI control. I wonder if maybe the tyre life went off with too much late braking, just meant he had no grip to be able to stop himself hitting the brakes as late as he was, and into the back off White he went. His car went in the pit lane, is now back on track, so that's going to be an interesting one. Keep an eye on that one for now. Pulls off to the side at turn 1, so we should be okay. That's a weird one, there you go. But yeah, so bit aggressive, bit late in the brakes, and Jack's day is now done, unfortunately.
Well, where one Mercedes car has had a bait, the other one is having a pretty good one. 3 laps to go then for Spike as he leads in Germany. And of course, just looking back here, he has had a previous race win. That was at Spain at round 3 where he won there, and this if he can make it to the checkered flag will be his 2nd race win of the season. Of course, 25 points against 15 right now. It would be 10 points gained on his rival, and so the gap then drops to 10 points. Let's have a look at the fastest lap then of the race. The fastest lap was actually Jack, who's now retired from the race, and of course, because he's not in the top 10, because he wasn't, you know, still on the grid, he's not going to finish top 10. That means that fastest lap point is gone for now. And if anybody in the top 10 wants to have a go and try and beat that 1:13.995 that Jack's got, I don't think that's going to happen, because they're all just too close to each other.
Well, if it goes down to the next driver, then at the moment it would be Warren, because he's in the 14.002, closest to that. So he'd be the fastest within the top 10. Yellow flag sector 1 and 2. Graham's out of this race now. Let's see if we can pick up where the Toro Rosso has gone wrong. And it is yellow flag somewhere. I've just missed it there. It was coming out a turn 4 up towards the parabolic. I couldn't see where the car was though, so I wonder if Graham's just pulled off to the side of the road and decided enough is enough. But that is both Toro Rossos out of the race, and that's not the first time that the 2 Toro Rossos have retired from a race, and I've got no idea where that car is. I can't see it anywhere on track, but Graham out of the race. That is the 5th retirement. So we've got George out of the race, crashed at the final corner. Yuzi crashed at turn 1. Crazy Legs retired at turn 2. Not sure what it was. Car was sitting on the track, all 4 wheels on it. We've just seen in the last couple of laps what happened to Jack, and now Graham has mysteriously disappeared and probably been taken to Area 51.
Well, there you go. An interesting analogy there, but it is Spike that's leading. Just some clarification on the fastest lap point rule is that it is the person who has the fastest lap overall, and if they finish in the top 10. It's not who has the fastest lap in the top 10, it's whether you set the fastest lap of the race and finish in the top 10, which means as it stands, there is no fastest lap point.
So there you go then, learning something every day. Teacher's good.
Absolutely. Well, closest battle on track right now is between Shaw and White. That is the battle for 6th place. But as we see here, Spike's rounding the final corner to start the final lap here. It's not quite the race that Mercedes wanted this season in real Formula 1, but at least they've got a car leading the race here in TTL F1 here in round number 6, as Spike now makes his way towards turn 2. And it's been a pretty quiet race for Spike. He lost that lead, of course, when he came into the pits, handed the lead to Warren, and then it was swiftly handed back to him when the pit stop phase was done, as he heads his way through Parabolica. We always know Spike loves to drive to a delta, and to be honest with you, the first 10 to 15 laps of this race were crazy, and it probably helped him to gain that massive lead he had over Warren. It was extended to 9 seconds. But at the moment, it seems pretty comfortable for Spike as he makes his way now towards turn 8. A little bit of a lock up there in towards turn 8, but you know what? I think that's probably the only mistake we've seen from Spike so far, as he makes his way now on towards turn 12. This fast right-hander here on worn hard tyres. Just be careful there to not overdrive it as we head towards Sachs curve now. Banking towards the corner helps you carry a little bit more speed through in towards this S section of 14 and 15. And now Spike making his way around the final couple of corners for Mercedes in Germany. It is Spike who wins in Germany. It's his 2nd race win of the season, and he cuts down the advantage that Lyronix has. Warren finishes in 2nd place, yet another time on the podium for our newest driver, as Lyronix crashes across the line at his home Grand Prix. He finishes on the podium there. It is Sean then who's going to round the final couple of corners. Once again, some solid points for him. 4th place here in Germany as he's weaving his way across the line. He knows that's a good result for him. Recon then attacking drive from him in 5th place, and we're seeing Traw and White here battle away. Something must have happened because Andy said, oh no. But there it is then. Recon drops to 7th place after penalties. Traw 5th, White in 6th there. Lighty at his home Grand Prix. It could have been a lot better for the McLaren. However, he's going to finish in 8th place. It is solid points for the McLaren driver, and the Gort then picks up more points then as he finishes in 8th place. He only scored 1 point before this round. He now gets a lovely looks like 4 points there, as Liam Hustwick now makes his way towards the line to pick up some points for the season. And Alan Kay will be finishing in 13th place. But Spike then at the German Grand Prix is showing basically how the real Mercedes drivers do it in these cars. His 2nd race win of the season. It is Spike who grabs the win here in Germany and cuts down that advantage to Lyronix to 10 points.
Yeah, pretty much a masterful race there. Just got in the lead at the start, made the tyres work. Lyronix went for the hards in the opening stint, then had his spin, which didn't help him, and Spike just drove off, done his own race, had plenty of a gap, and there wasn't really anything that anyone could do. When I last looked, he only had 1 warning as well from the entirety of the race, so, you know, that's a heck of a job. The exclamation you heard from me was T-Raw and White up in the turn number 6. They were side by side, White trying to go around the outside at turn number 6, and they were side by side heading down towards turn 7, and the McLaren just came across. They just collected each other's wheels, and I thought they were going towards the wall in a massive shunt. Somehow stayed out the wall with no damage, and carried on to the end of the race, and T-Raw finishes in 5th thanks to the penalties from Recon. Let's run you through the order then. So it's Spike from Warren and Lyronix. There's your 1, 2, 3. Sean in 4th again, having his own little race, but solid points for Ferrari. T-Raw in 5th, and it's White, Recon, De Gort, Lighty and Housewick rounding out the top 10. Mays, Charlie, Alan Kay finishing out a lap down in 11, 12, 13th. Graham, Jack, George, Uzi and Crazy Legs, all the retirements. Mays, Housewick, T-Raw, Spike are the only drivers with no penalties. And as I say, Spike, when I last looked, only had 1 warning, I do believe, which is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. And, well, because Jack set the fastest lap for the race at 1:13.995, but finished outside of the top 10. In fact, he didn't finish at all. That means there was no fastest lap points, so normal points as they stand then. Well, Spike closes that Championship League gap to Lyronix by 10 points, which means the gap now is 10 points as we head towards our next race in Belgium. It's a Spa day, and unfortunately, Andy's not going to be here. Andy, you're going to miss our Spa day. It's the one race of the year we say, yep, that's definitely us, that's our Spa day, but no.
Yeah, unfortunately, work's decided to be an absolute pain in the backside again, so I'm going to be missing the next 2 weeks, unfortunately. It also means I'll be missing the Esports Mini League, which is starting up on Wednesday night as well. I won't be able to commentate on that, and I always love doing them because they're absolutely mac. But yeah, I'm on back shifts and I'm not home until well after 9 o'clock, unfortunately, for the next 2 weeks. So I will be back in time for what I believe is it Japan or Russia?
Well, in 2 weeks.
What's after Singapore?
Well, we've got Japan, Mexico, and Abu Dhabi after Singapore.
So it'll be Japan I'll be back for then. So I might miss out on Suzuka, but I might miss out on Spa, but at least I get Suzuka.
Well, absolutely, and that's a legendary track. You leave one legendary track and come to another one. So I think you got it pretty good.
If you're going to rejoin at one, at least it's something like that. So yeah, I'll take that as much as I'd rather be here each week. But sometimes real life just gets in the way.
Well, absolutely. Well, hopefully you've enjoyed that one. It was a crazy start to the race and calmed down a little bit, and then it got mental towards the end. But yeah, that's going to do it for tonight. And you know what, Andy? I was going to say that's going to do it tonight. Take care, everyone. But you know what? Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. We will do a commentator's corner. How about that, Andy?
Yeah, let's do it. Hopefully, hopefully it doesn't last as long as last week, because that went on quite a while. We just kept having driver after driver showing up late. I think they were following what I did at the start and sitting at the bar before they came up. But anyway, we'll see if anyone fancies having a wee yatter with us tonight and see what goes on. So yeah, why not?
Absolutely. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you're notified every time the channel goes live, including Commentator's Corner, which will be coming up in just a couple of minutes' time. Make sure you follow the league on Twitter. It's at TTL_F1. You can follow me whilst you're there as well. It's at KSMCGF1. And you can follow Andy whilst you're there as well,
which is Andy81287.
We'll be live on this channel in a separate stream in just a couple of minutes' time, so don't go away.